Welcome to the Great Birch Forest. On this season of WhimsyCraft, I am updating a birch forest biome with my own ideas and story. We have previously built our starter campsite beside a lovely lake which we renovated with our own building style. This is followed by a custom waterfall where our nether portal sits atop. Now, I'd like to introduce the mysterious route that lurks behind our nether portal. It's frozen earlier today whilst I was up on my way to the nether, and somehow I have the feeling that it wants space to grow. For this episode, we will be clearing the forest and touching upon the terrain around the Great Birch Forest, making room for the root to spread and grow across this landscape. We started earlier today on my live stream, where this definitely didn't happen.
Alright. Hello, cows. Wait, I have to get some litter.
Oops.
Oh.
But now we're actually going to go and hopefully get this entire forest clear. So I hope you all enjoy this episode. Let's get started. I've been slowly replacing the torches around the area with fog lights underneath moss carpets. Just some lights up the area in a more natural way and also to keep the mobs out. I'll only be chopping birch trees down that are in the general Great Birch Forest area, so birch trees back there won't be cut down. Neither will that one, but for example, this tree, because it's exposed in a forest, it gets cut down. We have also got this temporary bridge over here that connects us to the other side of the lake. I don't want it to be this slow down when we actually work on it, so we'll probably raise it up a few blocks. Although I'm not sure what I'm going to do on either side. I'll figure it out when we go into creative mode later. So far, when chopping trees, I have filled 2 shulker boxes. One of them is full of logs, whilst the other is full of the saplings, sticks, and fog lights for lighting up the area. Now I think it's about time that we begin cutting these trees, starting with that one over there. So we'll quickly go into a little time lapse. Between now and the last episode, the tiny takeover drop finally released. And while we don't yet have it on the server, I can't wait to be able to use the golden dandelion, see all the baby mobs, and be able to finally get easy access to name tags. That will be really fun. If you haven't skipped the time lapse of me cutting these trees, I should mention the mysterious route behind the nether portal is very relevant to the lore of this base. That's what the first part of the episodes are mainly for, that little intro section. So far, I haven't revealed too much, but if you have any ideas of what might be happening in this Great Birch Forest, leave your ideas in the comments below and we'll see whoever gets the closest. Okay, so now we have fully cleared out all the trees in the surrounding area. If we fly up, I can show you. As you can see, there's a big ring around the base where the birch trees have been removed. This is going to give us space for custom trees, custom terrain, and the builds. The custom trees won't look like this one. This one's just an early test to see what they could look like, how tall they would be. Just so I have a good idea when it comes to actually making them. I copied a schematic of this area in Whimsical, so I can just paste the area into creative mode and we can edit the terrain there. It is April Fool's Day in 3 days, and I sadly won't be on the server that day, so I want to play a prank on some of the whimsies. Welcome to our creative ideas wall. My first idea is to get a chest that will entice the whimsies to open it. We could have an exclamation mark to alert them to the chest. We could have some sort of redstone or smoke signal connected to the chest for that does something when they open it. We could do an explosion, maybe a pit down to a dripstone, or we could have it drop something like charged creepers on them. But I don't know, that feels too destructive, too annoying, and I definitely don't want to damage their bases. My second idea is the warden. However, this idea has a little issue. While it would be terrifying to just have the warden lurking around your base, it would cause harm to people's animals and villagers in a way that's too destructive for a silly prank. A pickling brute would be really fun. The only problem is, they turn to a zombified piglin. Alternatively, we could just completely cover their base with chickens. But then again, this is giving them too much of a task to clean up. It requires a lot more cleanup than I'm wanting. We can spawn a creaking wire, a creaking heart, and give it the name tag so it sticks around during the day. If we do this, they won't be able to kill the creaking instantly. They'll need to find where we hit the heart, and we could hide the heart anywhere around that base. We could be evil with it, or we could just bury it underground like this. You might be wondering, how are we going to actually prank with this creaking? These are the people we'll be pranking, as they have been online most recently. Starting off with Scan, we're going to go to Aily, YMG's, Steevie, and Alice's bases, and try to find somewhere to just hide a creaking. Alice will be the hardest one to do, because there is an airship, and finding space on an airship, and finding space on a floating mid-air airship where almost every single space has been used will be incredibly difficult. Meanwhile, for everyone else, their base is on ground, and should easily be able to just dig underground and hide it. So, let's get started, shall we? Okay, here we are at Bailey's base. There we go, just have to wait until night. There we go. Alright, there is Aily's April Fools. Oh, creaking down here. Yeah. Probably right below this block. There we go. Oh wow. I have not been here, this is cool. Wanna deal with you right now, skeleton? So this should be Steevie? Yeah. Oh. I've seen Alice build this. My gosh, is it cool. Like I thought, it was very difficult to find a space at Alice's base for the creaking. I eventually found the space in the bottom of the ship that would support a 3-block tall creaking part. But I needed to make it look like the ship was shorter than it should be. So I imitated the design of the end of the ship, brought it forwards with some oak planks, and hit the creaking back there. Before we get into practicing some builds for WhimsyCraft, I'd like to show you my base from Gideon Season 1. This base was one of my first attempts at a style of building. I had rocks, I had these circular rocks with moss and different kinds of stone. I had these stone pathways. And I had these buildings that also fit the theme of moss. Around the base, I had various trees. Some were small and pointy, some were quite large, and all of these were oak trees. I used the color palette where I used lighter blocks towards the top, like azalea leaves, and then green terracotta towards the bottom. The only problem with these trees is I was only able to build 2 decent ones and just duplicated them and pasted them around the area in different rotations. But while it worked, I'd like every place in the Great Birch Forest to be unique, original. Each tree deserves its originality. So, whilst I'm taking the inspiration from this style that I've already used, I'm going to develop it, make some better pathways, and improve the look of the trees. And obviously, make them birch. Here we are back in our creative ideas world. First, I'd like to experiment with the boulders. I used xchloechxn, creating a stone sphere. Sometimes I'll make them taller, I'll rotate them to put them on an angle, and I'll just make them the unique shapes that look cool. So we'll keep existing. And we'll paste copy. Then, still using Axio, we go to the painter, and we choose moss. And then you just paint around the top, applying this moss. You can go for like a warlock wide one and do like very specific patterns that would have a little bit of a drip of moss there. There we go, down a bit there we go. And probably a bit more on this side. Using mossy cobble and tuff, I've been able to blend the moss nicely into the stone, using little splatters of green concrete powder and green wool. This now looks like a really nice rock. So now, we need to also blend this into the ground. What I like to do is put a very small layer of blocks, the stone blocks around where the stone is, just to show a transition between the ground and that. And then we add some of the moss, some of the wool, and some of the concrete powder around this bin, not around them, and keep it in the pattern. And then, after adding some foliage, I think I've got a really nice result. There's the color palette for this rock where we got the green transitioning into the stone and the light grey wool. And I just think that works really well. I really can't wait to build these on the actual server. Our next idea. I'd like to experiment with the pathways. This is what our pathways currently look like on the server. I'm not a big fan of the path block because it just looks like someone's trampled the grass. It looks very dull. It just looks like dead grass rather than a pathway. In my opinion, the colour of dirt and coarse dirt, it's so much nicer as a path than the brown of the path block. The only problem is it's too noisy, it's too detailed, and doesn't look great. So we don't want it to take too much attention from the builds we make. Okay, here are all the blocks I've managed to find that have a very similar colour palette to the dirt block without all of the noise. I think the iron is too bright, the dripstone is too purple. I don't like how flat the mushroom block is. I think the copper is too pink for the pathway, which leaves us with this colour scheme. What's good is that these two have slabs, meaning we're still able to use slabs as a transition between different elevations of our pathways. So let's experiment with what that looks like. Okay, now this is absolutely what we're going to go for. This is perfect. it feels like an actual dirt path. Obviously the pressure plate sounds aren't too bad. They're not what we want, but they're not too bad. But it just adds some depth to the path, even without changes in elevation. I think we're definitely going to go for that, because even next to the rock, the colour palette stands out, which is nice. It's something that my last colour scheme didn't do very well, because it used the same blocks. Now we've got the rocks and the paths figured out, we need to figure out what we're going to do for our trees. In a previous live stream, I experimented with making a few trees based off what the viewers suggested. Over here I made the colour palettes green, the green trees, the yellow trees, and even the colours for the birch. I like this scale from going from dark with the pale clogs and the brown to going to tough, andesite, and diorite, as birch trees tend to be more brown towards the base. So let's experiment with the trees. I'm going to create a consistent block palette for the birch. Okay, I think this is a good enough and simple block palette. It starts off with the dark reddish brown of the pale oak log into the acacia/tough blocks, then to the coolness of the stone and andesite, then to the more lighter tones of diorite and polished diorite, then leading to the top of the tree where we'll have actual birch logs and pale oak logs. I was entirely experimenting with the shape of the tree, and eventually this is the shape I settled with. I tried making a nice gradient going up and not limiting it to one block at a time, like throughout the gradient. It starts off quite dark but quickly gets bright, transitioning to the thinner blocks of the andesite and diorite walls, before then transitioning to the fences. But I think it works quite well for the structure of the tree. And that is really nice for the branches. I think we're getting somewhere with these trees. So I was done with the first tree, I began making some colour palettes for the green and yellow leaves, making sure they were much more vibrant than my initial attempts. After building another, yet smaller tree, I began adding leaves in a circular pattern around the branches. I wanted them to look like a circle from all angles, rather than just one, like I had previously done on a few trees. And then I started adding some lighting coming from a single direction. This made it look like the sun was in an actual position, casting light onto the trees, making one side bright and the other darker. When moving on to the second tree, I had to be more sparing with the yellow blocks as they are more opaque than the leaf blocks of the green tree. I ended up using quite a bit of yellow and orange glass to achieve a little bit of transparency, but I think it turned out quite well. It still conveys the light and shading that the green tree has, despite the limitations. Oh, I really like that. You can just see how it's yellow towards the front, orange towards the back. But with the lighting being consistent on both trees, I think that worked really well. I think this is what we're going to go for these trees. And now just want to blend it into the ground a little nicer so they can just look placed. Luckily, Mojang added these leaf litters. So underneath these thinner blocks we have some rooted dirt. And blend that in with some slightly randomly placed leaf litter. And there we go, these trees, now that we've blended them into the terrain, look really nice. All three of these look really nice so far. I just can't wait to actually build them on the server. So, let's get closer to that and actually add these to the schematic of our base. Welcome to the new and improved Great Birch Forest. I've spent the past week renovating this place with our custom trees, custom terrain, custom paths and designing things like new bridges, fences, and coming up with a nice composition for the whole place. I've had to consider the place from various different perspectives, such as the pathway from spawn. In this perspective, you'll be greeted by 2 yellow trees that frame the waterfall nicely. As you walk forwards, you get a better look at the waterfall before taking the bend and being introduced to the starter base. Another important perspective to consider is that from entering at the nether portal on top of the waterfall. This perspective might be the first impressions by most of the whimsies, so we need to make sure it looks really good. From this perspective, you can see all of the trees below, and from one side you can see the tent, you can see the lovely bridge, and you'll have a really nice view of the main base once it's built. You'll notice that we've only done trees in the starter base region of the forest. Next episode will focus on the main base and the trees around there and the nether portal. And then we'll move on to potentially over there with the animals, potentially the path over to spawn, and then we'll be able to do other paths, like the one towards Scales, and possibly even one towards a dot, where we can have some sort of a connection to Aily's base. However, I am really excited to start building this on the server, so I've got a list of all the resources I'll need, and a schematic. Whilst I was gathering gold for the trees, something unexpected happened. Oh,
Hello.
you are just too sneaky. For a second, I actually thought you were like a diamond armor zombie or something.
Ah, yes.
I was wondering how on earth a zombie can spawn with fully enchanted diamond armor.
If I had a nickel for every time I dug straight down into a cave to say hello to you, I'll have 2 nickels.
Which says a lot when it's weird that it happened for us.
Yeah.
We've now managed to get all the resources we need and move all of our current storage across to that area behind me. So now we are perfectly ready to start building our base. Let's begin the time lapse. Okay, I've almost got all my tools repaired. Now I can head back. Okay, do I have to use the water stream because I don't have my rockets? Wait, what? What can I do? Okay, I can try and end the pearl. I just need to get closer. Oh no. Okay, I may have run into a little issue. With our second death to the end, we have lost everything all over again, including our day 1 trident. So now I'm going to have to try and find my way back home safely and trade with all my villagers again. Luckily, shouldn't take too long, I already have some emeralds. I already have an elytra and a few tools left from my ender chest, and thankfully some pumpkin pie left by Scan earlier today. The only problem is we're going to need to go to a trial chamber and try and get our trident back. Oh, it is nice to be home. I can use these diamonds to craft new gear. I'll quickly go enchant it at my villager trading hall, and then we can head to a trial chamber and get our trident back. Okay, now we are completely ready to go to the end and enchant all of our gear. I managed to get the majority of the enchantments we'll need, and the bow with unbreaking and mending. I don't have all the bow enchantments yet, so we can't fully enchant it, but it'll be useful in trying to get our trident back. Let's just hope this time we don't die. I brought my rockets just in case anything happens. Okay, I luckily managed to enchant all of our gear with no issue, and now we just need to go get our trident. So I'm going to go to the trial chamber and compile this into a nice montage of me getting a trident. I should be using the axe as a smite. There we go. Built with... got a speed potion. And... okay, that's a bit of a problem. Why did that not actually hit? Oh, okay. First room, quite deadly. Well, second room, I guess. Yeah, let's see, what do we get? Oh my gosh, what are the chances of that? My gosh. Oh, it does. Okay, never mind. What? Why? What will we get? Well, actually, we can have a brief look at how rare the trident actually is. No way did I just... What was I doing here? No more trial chambers. Because I tried and... That was just... I don't even know how I did that. I didn't even see the trident. It just appeared right as I decided, right, I'm gonna right click now. It was like fate. All over again. Now that I have everything back, there's one last thing I want to do before the end of this episode. A few weeks ago, Scan invited me to make a little apartment at his base, which I should say his base has gotten really cool over the few weeks. I've probably shown it in episode 1, but it is really good. So this is the space we'll be using. It's quite small, but so far Steevie is the only other person to have an apartment here. And his looks really cool, so I'm going to take some inspiration from this and try to build our own. Here's our room so far. Using pale oak wood, I've made a little desk with a crafting table and leaf, with a chair that we can put an armor stand of bus on. We have a lantern that I want to replace with a salt lantern. We'll have a little laptop on the desk. We've got some shelves, space for a bed. It's really good. I just need to get the last bit of resources, and we can finish this off. Okay. Let's quickly decorate. So we've got the bed there. We have a soul lantern to replace this one. A little armor stand for the chair that will be us. We got the pots. Oops. I like the flower background. Adds to the vibe of us. Our various flowers. I forgot the pots. That's no harm, I can quickly go back and get some of those. And there we go, almost done. Just need the pots and to decorate those. Is add our armor stand. There we go. There we have ourselves working at a computer while looking out the window, and I think this is kind of cute for this apartment. What's left? Ah yes, I want to drive a little frog light up there. There we go. And some potted plants. I've added a few more things, like a painting, a dried cast, and I have this diamond chest plate on an armor stand that I want to put on the H-Frick wire hook. I kinda like that, where like you can still see the trick wire hook hanging over slightly. Then you have a little dry cast. Unless I flip these two. Oh no, but I like that one up there. Yeah, I think this is done. Now all we've got left is the sign. I'm going to call it the Comfort Corner. I'm excited for that. Okay, look at how cool that sign is. Oh, this place is just lovely. Yeah. Let me know your opinions of that room, our terrain, and even our custom trees. I think we did quite a good job making them, and I think even everything we've worked on has turned out incredible today. I'm really happy with how these upgrades have come along too, and hopefully everyone thinks it's cool. But that's it for this episode. Hopefully you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!
Alright. Hello cows, wait, I have to get some litter.
Oops.
Oh.
Oh, that went wrong.